my knowledge um, to better your knowledge and probably put you on a career path that you will enjoy, because I'm enjoying it, and those people that have thought they're really enjoying the career. So this tonight I'm going to be starting with taking you through the planning, the planner's role and the processes that you get involved from start. I know we've talked about something related to that, but this time around, I know last week we were talking about charter and baseline and all that. So this is going to involve you're going to be involved in throughout the project life cycle, and your role as a planner throughout the project life cycle. Like I told you earlier on, that as a planner, you get involved from inception to the last cut. And yes, and this is where you're going to start, like a process, like a life cycle. So you'll be involved in planning. If you're just joining the company, maybe it's a small company, or they're starting a project, or they're starting bidding for a project, you will join that. You will prepare the plan, right? You will prepare the plan. They will ask you to prepare a robust plan, a delivery plan, or a more detailed plan. So once the plan is developed by you with the help of others within the team, within the project management team and your core team, then all of you will need to agree, like what I mentioned last week. Once you agree, something they call internal baseline, because you've agreed internally that this is the way we're going to carry this project out during the execution phase. So, and if that involves a sponsor that is not within your company, or a client, then that needs to be sent to the client for the client to review it. Once that is done, the client agrees, everybody agrees. If the client is happy with what you've put down, he agrees, then it becomes that project or program baseline. So this is going to be what everybody will be looking, both internally and externally, what you'll be looking to benchmark the progress of that project during the life cycle, during the execution phase. So in the execution phase, if you look at, oh, sorry, oh my God, this is so sensitive. Just bear with me. So I just want to put you see my cursor here. At this point, this is a point they said they initiate the job, initiate what you've planned. You've set out a plan like an architect, you've drawn a building, a beautiful building. Yeah, everybody is looking, is fine, is beautiful. Now we want to start constructing it. At that point, this is when you want to put your plan in practice. So what you've planned, then this is where you will get so much involved. You'll get so much involved. It depends on how complex the project is. But if the project is complex, you become so involved daily on the project. If they will make sure you are there to monitor and control what the project, what you've said, this is our baseline, this is what we're going to be using. Then you will be involved in daily reporting, daily monitoring of the project. How is it going? We said we're going to do 5 things today. Are we doing 5 things? If we're not doing it, it's your job to be saying, okay, why are we not at the end of, or maybe you want to be monitoring every week. You might say at the end of each week, it depends on what you agree, to be honest. It depends on what you agree at the beginning of the project or what the contract says. The contract could say, as a client, I'm expecting you to report back to me every 2 weeks or every month, or you can agree on a particular date of each month. And I say every 20th, if it's not weekend, or every first Monday of every month. So, and they call that update cycle. So at that point, you need to report the progress up to that point. So you get involved, and for you to be able to report that progress, you might want to get involved in visiting sites and see what they're doing and how they're getting on. And sometimes you could challenge if something is not going according to the plan. And when you challenge such and somebody tells you that, okay, we should be here, but we are not there, this is the issue, these are the issues, then you can take that to the meeting, take that to your project manager and say, Tom, this is what I saw on site. We're not going, things are not going according to the plan. And based on these, I would advise you need to do so and so. You are an advisor. You are advising as a project manager. This is what I think we need to do. Then, because he's expecting you and every other team member on that project to advise him or to tell him things, because he's coordinating all of you. So you just said, this is what I would advise you to do. Then, because when you monitor, you give reports. That's you evaluate and report back to him that this is your report to the team, the whole team or the senior management team, depending on who the contract or who you agree to report to. So you can be reporting to project director. Then you can be asked to report to project director and PM. So depending on how is worded in the contract or how you've been advised to report. So, and you start doing that. If the project start getting delayed, then you and your team can sit down. You can see I'm using you now because you get involved in every stages of this. So you and your team with project manager and you say, okay, this is not going as planned. It's not going according to the plan. So what can we do? Maybe you were supposed to finish something by end of June, end of July. Now it's now August and there's no feasibility that you're going to finish end of August. So what you guys will need to do is to sit down on the round table and re-strategize. Because what you are trying to do, how do we recover? How do we get back on track? How do we get back on track? Then many of your team members are relying on you to be able to tell them, oh, we're not on track. Based on what I can see, based on the progress I've collected or based on information I've collected so far, we are running late. We're not meeting the target. We're not meeting our deliverables. So what can we do? Then they will ask you, okay, if we do these, can you give us scenario plan to see how we can recover? What can we do? People will start suggesting, oh, can we do these, do these, do these? They will say, okay, you can say, okay, let me give you a scenario plan. You can have 3-4 scenarios, how you can recover back to the end of July. And once you've given them those scenario plan, they will look for the most viable one that probably they will consider the cost. They will consider, okay, what cost, how much, or what will it take us to get back on track? And they will look for the most viable options. If you give them like 3 scenarios, if we go by east, west, and to south, then we'll be able to come back to north. You can give another scenario. If we go through north central, south central, back to here, they will now look at all, they will sit together. They will now look at, okay, how do we do this? What can we do to get these back to track? And once you're able to choose, or you agree on a viable option, and you're able to get to track, then it's called revised. Then you now issue another plan. It's called a revised plan. So like a recovery plan. So every project, like, let me say 98% or 95% project doesn't go smoothly as you've planned it. So you will, at some point, you will run late. There will be a chance to recover. In some cases, you won't be able to recover. You won't be able to recover back to where you plan to be. So in that case, it could involve, if it's going to involve big amount of, big change, or it's going to cost a lot of money. And probably in some company, you have threshold. They can say, well, if the threshold of what it's going to cost you is less than 5% of the total cost, they will say, well, you can go ahead. Project manager has the power to authorize it and make that change. But in some cases, they will say, well, that needs to go through the change management board. They need to look into that. And the change management board, you are part of them as a planner. So you are involved because you will be the first person when they want to analyze. They will be the first person to tell, please, can you provide us a scenario plan or impact analysis? What causes this delay? Then how do we recover this delay? So you would give them the impact analysis, the cause of the delay, how these actually happen, what happened. You tell them the stories using your plan. Then they will tell you, they will ask you, can you give us a scenario plan as well, how we can recover these? Then you give it to them. They would go look at it, look at everything. They make decision and come back to you if they want to implement it or not. So if they want to implement it, you go in, get into your plan, do the option you've given them, develop that into a full plan. Then they can say, okay, we need to rebaseline, we need to re-agree on this now, that this is the plan we will use going forward. So that is just a brief narrative of this. Any question? Any questions so far? Okay. So when it comes to planning, there are so many tools that you can use in planning. In the planning world, you have so many tools. You can use, even some people are using Word document to plan. Some use, Excel spreadsheets. Some use Smartsheet, which is a glorified Excel spreadsheet. And in some industries where most of their projects are linear, like when you go to rail industry, the main project is could be laying a new track or track renewal. Because it's linear, it's straight, they use tilers, and that software is all about, time and distance. So it helps them a lot, and they use it in conjunction with some of other software. So Aster Power Project, this is a very popular tool when it comes to building construction. And you see developer, most of the building constructions, they use Aster Power Project. The Microsoft project is popular as well. So in most PM, because it's easy to use, most PM, they don't need to get trained on it, so they just use Microsoft Project to build their plan if they don't have a planner. In a company where they don't value planner, where they don't see, where most of those companies where you have project manager doing the planning, if you ever study them, they don't have big complex project or big project they're doing. They're just doing some little project, because most of the big clients or the playmakers that give out the big project, they would definitely require to get a planner, because they've got a planner themselves. So they will tell you, we need a planner from you, so that our planner can talk to that planner. So, and we need a program from you. You can't be doing something without reporting on a plan. It might not be from that plan. You can actually do some dashboard or plan on a page that is going to just give them just the high level of your plan, but they still need the details. They will ask you to submit your detailed plan, probably per period, and that period could be 1 week to 2 weeks to whatever, to like maybe 2 months. So it depends on how complex the project is. So, and from my experience, my reporting cycle or update cycle ranges from 1 week to the maximum I've got is 1 month. So the most popular one and robust, and the one most industry use nowadays, and that cuts across every sector. It cuts across every sector, because I mentioned Ask the Power Project. It's a software that is very common in building construction. If you go to building construction, I can see 80% or 90% uses Ask the Power Project, but it doesn't cut across all other sectors. But the Primavera PCs, which is from Oracle, cut across every sector. And if you want a job with the government, like network rail, defense, nuclear, that the government are involved in, you must know Primavera. They won't accept any other software without accept Primavera. They won't accept. You must communicate to them, because that's the software they use, and they want something similar that they can easily interrogate and easily update their plan. Because what they've got is, they've got what is called, because what they do, those big companies, what they do is they could have multiple contractors, multiple subcontractors that are working for them, and they will require each of these contractors to submit a plan. They will require them to submit a schedule, and what they do is they have a master schedule in Primavera. Sometimes they call it IMS, Integrated Master Schedule. So where they collect all these plans from, all these schedules from different contractors they've employed, and integrate it into their master schedule, so that they can interrogate and making sure what they've planned is not moving to the right. I mean, delaying. And if it's delaying, because they know all these contractors have dependencies, have what they depend on. A depend on B to move on, B depend on C to move on. So in their master plan, they would have linked all these guys and what they expect from them during their update cycle, which could be monthly, which could be 2 weekly, which could be one weekly, is get. What am I getting? What am I giving from give me something, then they will give it to another contractor to link it to another contractor's program or milestone or key deliverables to see, and they will run these and see where they are in terms of dates and in terms of what is moving and what is not moving. So the most popular one is Primavera P6, and this is what I'm going to be training you on. I'm not going to train you on any other thing because they're easy to know, they're easy to learn, but I'm going to train you on the key software that cuts across every sector, which is Primavera P6. Any question? Okay. From statistics, this is an host.
Sorry, before you go ahead.
Yes.
Now, what you say in essence is every other tools, the Primavera P6, if you have that, I mean, every other tools are interwoven into the Primavera P6. Is that what you're saying? Or that is the most acceptable tool in project planning and project management? Yes,
it cut across. You know, when I say cut across every sector, you have the IT, civils, oil and gas, manufacturing, rail, nuclear, and mention it. This cut across, they are using it. This is a commonest planning tool you will find there. It's the most complex in terms of usage, but it's very robust. You can't really doctor it. You can't doctor it. You understand? That's why they've adopted it. It's not because it's Oracle or because the name is Primavera, because they've tested it. It's built by the US Defense some years back. So they've tested it. They've seen that this is a robust software, it's scalable. You know, it can do so many things. Some people literally plan everything in Primavera. They costing everything, they do it in that software. There's some company who said, no, we want to use some other software like Sage for costing. We don't want to, we don't want to use Primavera and all that. But because it's robust, so people, I mean, big companies, they accept it because it's robust. Why I said big company? Because it's expensive as well. It's expensive to get a license. So it's only big companies that can afford this because it's expensive. So the big companies, they are the one, I mean, pushing it out there. And because big companies give small contractors job. So if most of the stock are being in a situation where the small contractor said, we can't afford Primavera, then they will say, okay, you need to, the cost is billable to us. Put the cost through, we will reimburse you, but we need you to have one. Do you understand? So, and also you said in terms of integration, well, it used to be easy to integrate MSP, which is the second commonest software. Well, in terms of acceptance, it used to be easy to just integrate it, but now because Microsoft and Oracle are kind of rivalry, proprietary issues and all that. So before you can easily do a plan in MSP and import it into PCs, it will sit. If you try it now, it will import, but everything will be messy. The time it will take you to readjust and get everything set, you will even say, okay, why don't I just plan this thing in PCs from scratch? So it integrates, it interface with most of them. Is interface with, you know, Excel. You can just copy PCs and paste it into Excel, and it will sit. So does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So, like I said, this data was, I mean, it will be outdated now, but I still use it. Out of 400 top companies in the US, 374 use Primavera because they know it's robust and it's flexible. Like I said, is you know, multiple people can work on it at the same time, can work on the same project at the same time without having issues. MSP has got its own now in the cloud that has multiple people that can work on it. But PCs, when it comes to baseline, you can create in PCs unlimited baseline. I will tell you when we get to that point in practical. You can make a copy, like you can take unlimited pictures and store it in its database in terms of baseline, unlimited picture of your schedule. Then in MSP, though in pieces, the limitation is you can take unlimited pictures. Like I told you, baseline is just taking a picture of your agreement. But when it comes to comparing those pictures, you can only compare 4 at a time. So, but when it comes to MSP, you can only take 11 pictures and you can only compare 2 at a time. So that is that about PCs, is flexible, and in terms of career-wise, if you know that software, if you call yourself a planner, they ask you, do you know how to use Primavera? 90% or 95% of employers will prefer people that can use Primavera than any other person, than any other tools. They would ask you, can you use Primavera PCs, okay? Because, they might tell you, okay, can you use Primavera PCs because that's where we're heading to. Now we've got MSP, but most of the project we're bidding for, they're asking us to have Primavera, so we're looking at getting the license. So if you know how to use the license, we will employ you. And you can, if you look at the career wages ranges from 35 to 100K, and people earn more than 100K. So these are the requirements that you will be needing to get this installed on your laptop. You will need a Windows laptop. Mac or MacBook doesn't take this unless you partition it. And you know, it's going to be so complicated. I have an iMac. I partitioned it. I gave the partition, partition it to give, to have Windows to be able to install Primavera. But there was a day, I switched on this iMac and everything just went bam. It took me 3 days to get it back on track. So I won't advise you, but if you know how to do it, you can get Windows on it, that's fine. But I need the Windows operating system to be able to install it. So, and it's going to be Windows 10 and later versions. If you have less than that, I won't be able to. If you have less than that edition, I won't be able to, version, I won't be able to install that. Preferably, I said 14-inch screen and above. So it's just an advice, because the bigger the screen you have, because this is going to be a software that you want to be moving, is a big. I will show you how it looks like. That you will need a bigger screen. It doesn't go, like I said, iPad, no. Was it tablet? No, it has to be a laptop or a desktop, right? Any question? Okay. So the benefits of Primavera, I've said this whole. I don't think I need to actually go into these. Is really scalable, and I mean, it helps in good communication. However, some people may disagree with me and, oh my God, I don't like that thing. And to be honest with you, this is the advantage they put out there. And not everybody that is a fan of seeing your schedule. They don't want to see the detail of your schedule. They don't want to see all the breakdown, or they just want to see the key items they're looking for. And what Primavera do is you can easily filter these out, and you can easily dump it in Excel. Excel is a very powerful tool, which I can, if you know Excel and you now know the software, you will be off cake, because you can dump anything, easy to dump from PCs to Excel and do whatever magic Excel will do to, Excel is good in presenting in terms of pie charts. You do pivot tables and all that. If you're very good in Excel, I'm not very good and I'm learning, but if you're very good in Excel, you will be hot cake with this. Not that if you're not good, if you're average, but you need to, because some people don't want to see, just can you dump it in Excel for me so I can play around with. Some people are not techie. And the problem about this, not a problem, but that's the way, because the licenses are very expensive. So your company tends to give it to those who really need it. They don't, it's not like MSP that you can share to people. But this one is expensive. So a big company, my company has only got 5, and it's a big company. My company is a company with 74,000 employees, and so it might it's a very good tool. I can assure you. And if you go there, Google, look for planning job, what you will see most, I can guarantee you, 98% will say you must know how to use P6. So now, I don't want to stop here. I will come back to these. This is where the practical will start, and this is what we're going to be using to start the practical. So I will quickly show you how the software looks like and come back to these, and I'll quickly show you. So this is how the software looks like when you get it and when we start working on it. This is how it is going to look like. See, and when I install it on your laptop, I will be telling you what each of these parts are doing. So in the GUI, in the graphical user interface of PCs, you will have 3 divisions, majorly 3 divisions. You have the table, the Gantt chart, and the detail table. So I'll be going in depth looking at that, and that's what it's going to give you in terms of when someone is asking you for resource profile, and it's going to give you, I will explain all these to you. This is PCs. I will explain every bit, what these bars means, and all these tables, what all these means when we get to the practical aspect. And when you start working, this is what they'll be requiring from you. They'll be, okay, can we have your schedule, and this is how it's going to look. And although we have different layouts, PCs has got different layouts, and these layouts depend mostly on the columns in PCs. Each of these, like Excel, you can see each of these are columns in PCs. In Primavera, we easily call it PCs instead of calling it Primavera PCs. Pardon me if I just say PCs. So these are columns, and PCs has over 100 of these columns that you can display. And this column will just tell you, this is just a graphical illustration of what is written here. And each of the time you pull out something from here and you show this, is going to give you the graphical illustration of these. And this is what they require to do your job. So I will talk about this because this is very important when it comes to planning. Your working calendar is key to your planning a project. Because if you look at calendar generally, you have bank holidays, you have weekends, you have some key holidays, and you have people that are working, like we mentioned, that they will need to go on holiday, you understand? So all these things are very important when it comes to working calendar, and your working calendar is very important in the sense that you can't plan a job when people will not be available, in terms of maybe the project, people that we've been working on that project are not working weekends. So if you say, if a job is going to take, if a job within your plan is going to take 10 days and you start on Monday and you just say, oh, 10 days. So it's going to be Monday to Wednesday. That's 10 days. So, and they said they don't work weekend. So that's not 10 days. So 10 days, because we don't work weekend, will be Monday to this Friday, then next Monday to next Monday. So if you don't get it right, because that's the key thing, you must understand the working calendar, the time of the starting time of your employee or of your resources that are working on that project. You must understand when they resume, when they close, that timeline. Do they have a break? So you need all these things are planned on your calendar before you start saying, okay, my project will run through January to December. So this calendar will help you determine how long the project is going to take. Take for example, if you think, this project is 10 days. So my 10 days is going to, like the example I gave, my 10 days is going to end on close of play Wednesday. From Monday to Wednesday, that's 10 days. And that's when I will finish this project. That's what you assume. But you need to validate your assumption with the stakeholders that you'll be working with. You ask them, what calendar are you using? What is your working calendar? They say, oh, we only work Monday to Friday and we work from 8 to 6. So you need to set your calendar in the software to 8 to 6, Monday to Friday. You block out, which I will show you how this works. You block out all the weekends. And some will tell you, oh, we work Monday to Friday, but we work alternate weekends. Then you ask them, can you tell me the alternate weekend? Okay, when are we starting? Because if you assume, okay, alternate weekend, I'll just be alternating them, they will tell you no. Because then you're working with them to make sure you flesh out what you need to flesh out. So you need to work with them, ask them questions, and they will tell you how the calendar works, what time. They might tell you, we work Monday to Friday, 10 hours, of Monday to Thursday, 10 hours per day. Then on Friday, we only work 4 hours. Then on Saturday, we work 8 hours. On Sunday, we work 8 hours. So your calendar must reflect that. So calendar is key. And sometimes, and most of the time, once you've got their working calendar, you need to go and check the bank holidays for that year. So all the bank holidays, if they claim they were not working on bank holidays, all those bank holidays, you must block them out. No work on that day. So, and if you have bank holiday like last year, I think we have in May, I think we have 3 days off. So you cannot say, oh, your program or your schedule, if you involve those 3 days, that means your project will finish earlier. But if you took those 3 days off your calendar, then you know you won't end when you think normally you should end, because you have some bank holidays. So it's very, very important. And in some cases where you have some resources, Some resources only work twice in a week. So they could have their own separate calendar. That, well, if you I'm a consultant, I only work, like I teaches you on Monday and Wednesdays. If you put me down for Tuesday, then you won't see me. And you're not a good planner because you've not asked the question. So you must understand calendars, and you must understand that calendar will also tell you those guys when they are on holiday. So you could have holiday calendar, and probably you would be made aware of these a month before they go on holiday, because some people will just book holiday. Most companies will say book your holiday 4 weeks or 2 weeks before you're going. They must notify us so that we can sign it off. You cannot just book your holiday for tomorrow when you're today. So when they sign it off 2 weeks before you go on holiday, they will inform the planner that this guy will be on holiday. We need to replace him, or this guy will be on holiday. He's an expert in that field. Nobody has got that skill set. So every job that this guy needed to carry out during that time will be moved to the right, will be delayed. So you need to capture all these. And if that delay happens, it could lead to the end of the project moving to the right as well. The date moving to the right. We will be running late because this guy is the only guy that's got that skill set to be able to do this. Nobody. If we want to hire another person within the short period, it'll be off. It's going to cost us so much, and it's not worth it. So your calendar is key when you are planning. So remember that if you're a planner, if you don't know about calendar, you are not a planner. You are not good at all. So you should understand your calendar. And in this, we have the global resource calendar. The global is a general calendar to all projects that you are working on. You could access that calendar, which I will teach you later. I'm just giving you an overview. Resource calendar is pertaining to that resource. Deji. Kunle is a consultant who only works 2 days a week, and he works from 10 to 5, or he works from 8 to 4. So anything outside those hours, Kunle won't be able to work. And you have a project calendar that is peculiar, or is for that particular project, not for every other project. Every other project won't be able to access that calendar, won't be able to use it, except that project. But the global calendar, every project will be able to access that calendar and use it. Any question?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. So,
yes, go ahead, please.
The first one is, let's say you are working in an IT environment and you have a Scrum Master. I know that one of the responsibilities of the Scrum Master is also to have the calendar and work schedule of everybody in the team because of capacity planning and everything. So if the team also has a project planner, so whose primary responsibility would you think it is, to put tabs on the calendar, or is it both of them, or both of them can both have their overview of the calendar, or that's the first question.
Okay, can I just take that and answer that quickly? So
yes,
if you are the planner, you are the key to the success of that project. Even the Scrum Master depends on you, right? To give him updates and give him the visibility and the predictability of that project. So if a calendar changes, or calendar, I say calendar, yeah. If the working hours or working days, or they need to go on holiday, or that needs to be communicated to you. as soon as possible, because your Scrum Master or your project master, your project manager who said, okay, I know Dave, Andrew, and Bola, I know they will be going on holiday on the whatever from September. And that is what we planned our job on. That these guys will be going on holiday, so we won't assign any job to them. So all their jobs will be moved to the right, or probably bring them forward. If they can do it, then they do it earlier. But then John came, he needed to go on holiday as well. But from the beginning, we didn't plan John to go on holiday at our point. So that needs to be communicated to me as a planner. I need to impute it and run the software to see the impact it's going to have. And based on that impact, I can advise the team that if John should go on holiday, because John has got a special skill set that nobody knows, nobody can replace John, this is going to happen. So based on that, we can predict the end date or what is going to happen, or the risk. We can see the risk easily, that this is a risk. How do we mitigate it? So you are the cog in the wheel that provide those information and the predictability and the forecast for that. So most people rely on you to give them that information. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Then secondly, so when you're making your plans, when you're planning, the schedule, and then you're taking cognizance of people's time, because I believe that, is their working hours that will also determine, like how the project is going on. So let's say there are some tasks that's supposed to be run for, let's say, maybe 40 hours. And if the resource is working for 40 hours, so I guess that's 180. So when you plan like that, do you also add buffers? Like, so, what happens when the person is sick, when people take sick leave, or when there are unexpected circumstances that arise? How do you cater? And then how does it affect the timelines and the delivery period?
Okay, that's a good question. So every project, like I mentioned earlier on, that every project, if you're a good planner and a good project team, always have contingency plan. In the plan, they create a kind of buffer. They create buffer, they create contingency line, just a timeline that if anything should go the way we did not plan it, so we have some timeline to shove into that, to block or to recover those time. So, but that is in the case of eventuality, like somebody falls sick, which could happen, and if things get delayed, so and it could, if the job that guy needs to do is on the critical path. If it's not on the critical path, so okay, if it's on the critical path that is very, very, we need to find a way to recover that time. So we tend to go back to our contingency and use them. But in some cases, you have backup for all these guys. But in some cases, you rely on a guy that is, I won't call that person a monopoly of that field. Maybe probably your company cannot afford to have two, like it's like football. You have two very good players. One would not like to sit on the bench. And in companies, you have people can sit on the bench. So far you are paying them, but you are losing money. So in terms of kind of productivity and the cost, is it viable to get two persons thinking, okay, one of them could go off sick and we need to replace this guy because their skill set is very, very scarce. But sometimes you see it as a risk at the beginning, but it's part of the solution. Part of the solution of managing a risk, you just do anything about it because you don't have the budget to have two players, good players on the bench. So in that case, those are the things that you can use to mitigate those risks. Because what you've just said to me, in my head, you are looking at the risk of not having somebody that is critical to that project during the course of the project. That person fell sick. What is the backup? What is the redundancy plan? What is the contingency? Those are the things that is always practiced in projects. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Welcome. Any other question? Okay. This stage, I'll just run through that because we will need to come back during the practical. So we will be using these and some other practice that I've got not on this slide, which I'll be introducing to you. This is going to be classwork that we will be using. How projects are broken down. Projects are complex. You know, if you said, "Oh, build a house," you'll be looking, okay, I want to build a house. It's a complex thing. I don't know where would I start from? Or what will I do? So all those things will be mentioning it during the practical. And sorry, in planning, especially like I said, I'll be teaching you using the Primavera PCs as a planning tool. So in PCs, you have what's called EPS. EPS means, as it's written there, enterprise project structure. It's like you have Dangote Group. I know, well, if you're from Africa or from Nigeria, most people know what Dangote is. So we have Dangote Group. It's an umbrella to most of these subsidiaries, which you have Dangote Refinery, Dangote Cement, Dangote Sugar, Dangote Construction, and so on and so forth. So the Dangote Group is like a node, it's like an umbrella to all of these. So it sits at the EPS level. So, but we still have a sub-EPS level that goes under the main EPS level. So what this means is Dangote wants to divide its company to subsidiaries that specialized on different things, and every project that they will be carrying out will go to that downstream, will go to that particular company. So that is why we said we have used that as an example as a sub-EPS. So the next one will be, you know, like I said, every project, when project level, if you see this level now, we've talked about these project level. At this project level, that means each project goes into the specific subsidiary. If you're doing any project production pipeline installation, maybe you're installing some pipelines in the refinery, you won't go and put it under sugar company, no, Dangote Sugar, Dangote Cement, or Dangote Construction. It goes specifically. So this is just a way to categorize project into the right channel that it can be easily identify and useful for whoever is looking for that project or looking for anything in that database. You will know, oh, if I'm looking for these pipelines installation, I will be facing, I would rather most likely you know, my mind will go to refinery. That's where the pipeline will be. And when you're constructing, maybe you're building a house, I would say, or duplex house, that will be under construction. That I will not be able to find that under sugar and all that. So it sits under the sub BPS, and then it goes to the next level, which is, sorry, under this one. So you could have, like I mentioned in our class, I think last week we mentioned about the EPC, where we mentioned, who can remind me what EPC stands for? Anybody? Anybody? What does EPC stand for? I said it yesterday, or Monday. But I'm showing you the answer just now. I thought somebody would be able to spot that and tell me. Nobody could tell me. So it's right in front of us. You can see engineering, procurement, and construction. That's what it means. That's what it stands for. And I said it yesterday on Monday, saying that's what it stands for. It's a structure for projects. It's a project structure of a company. Is a standard in every company that is doing design and build. So if you're doing design and build, so you get involved in the engineering, procurement, and construction. So that's what it stands for, and we would delve into that. We will deep dive into that later on. So it comes to another level. From that level, it comes to what's called WBS. And WBS means, if you look at where my cursor is, that's the enterprise to project to WBS means work breakdown structure. And I will tell you the story about all that. I'll just give you an overview of what this is the level WBS. Then it comes to activity level. Then it comes to the minute level, which is the granularity of planning, which is steps. But in most places you won't find it. People won't use it, but I've been in companies where they further break down. So the overview of these is, you have a complex project, build a house, and you want to break that down to the smallest manageable level that you can use and develop, that is smallest manageable level that would be easy for you to develop a robust plan. And that is all what this means. And this is where I will stop. Any questions so far? And next, we will be going to the practical.
Yes, thank you. So I have this, I was wondering, I don't know how possible it is. I discovered that there are a lot of vocabularies in project planning. I mean, I've trained as a Scrum Master. I don't even think we have as much vocabularies as, you know, project planning. All these acronyms, WBS, EPC, like you mentioned a lot. I was hoping, is there a way we could get like a list of all those vocabularies that comes to head and their meaning. I know that we will learn them on the go, but it would be nice to just have like, a quick rundown of a lot of all these, vocabularies, all these acronyms and everything and what they mean. It will be really helpful. Or if there's any resource we can check out that has everything. I don't know.
Yeah, thank you very much. To be honest with you, I believe, based on what I've done in the past, the career of my career path, not in planning at all. I believe planning has the least acronyms. There's no, because I call it EPC or WB. These are the, the most difficult one you will find in planning. There's nothing outside. That's why I said in the beginning that you don't have to have any background, or you don't have to be technically savvy or whatever. So don't get scared about what you've seen so far. When we get to the practical, you see this will be flying. And if people are going back to listen to the videos or get their mind set on these and get determined, I think it's easy, to be honest with you. Very, very easy. I've taught some people and they are in planning and over years. They've spent 2-3 years doing this planning that they don't even have any office background. Like, people in care, people in security, doing security guard, people in, people that did not study in this country at all. So it's not a big deal. It's the simplest thing you will grab like that. So don't worry, during the course, you will get used to all these. You don't need to stress yourself, to be honest with you. I'll make it simple. Any other question? Okay. I wish, I'm very optimistic that I will see you in the practical class. And at this point, I'll be handing over to Deji. So maybe he's got something to tell you as well. Hello, Deji.